The band that is performing on this tour is, without really any exaggeration, I think one of the best bands in the world. And I say that not because they're at a very high level of technical expertise, because they've played with some of the best, most famous musicians in the world, although all those things are also true. What's so exciting about this band, as much as they approach the music with great technical skill and understanding, they also approach it with great historical sensibility and political understanding. This tour comes at a very particular time that we're sending a message to the world that there is an alternative beyond capitalism, beyond thousands of years of patriarchal rule. We're giving people a message that they can reimagine themselves.
It's really such an honor for me to be sharing the stage with such legends of jazz and with all these activists that really are trying to change the world. I think music begins inside of all of us as a spark. It starts in darkness and then we just pass it around and the light spreads very, very rapidly.
Music gave me something to believe in. I felt for the first time when I picked up the saxophone or flute, I felt like I belonged somewhere. I knew what I was supposed to do. Now, this is one of those trips where I realized, once again, I've come to a crossroads as a human being, as a musician, as an artist. Are you going to go back to where you were, or do you want to go forward? I want to go forward. I would say that African American music is the soul of this country. It comes from the people who have the clearest vision of what this nation really is about, or amongst those who have the clearest vision, and that is the slave population, upon whose backs the wealth of this country was created, along with the indigenous people whose land was stolen. Probably the most revolutionary period of African American music is what we now call the Black Arts Movement. Here you had a group of highly accomplished poets and artists and dancers and musics and writers and so forth who said, we are now going to write for ourselves, for our own liberation, according to our own aesthetics, according to our own taste, with little regard toward the censorship that either whites bring upon blacks or blacks bring upon themselves to some type of politics of respectability. And so here you find some of the most arresting music in the history of our nation. And this particular piece by Cal Massey is one of the masterpieces of that era.
Every time I've done a Cal Massey show, amazing things have happened. So I know that there's some sort of force in the universe that's bending it towards liberation, that Cal Massey is an integral part of.
King of people. It is the first time in my life that I can connect my two biggest passions and the things that touch me the most. I care a lot about music, of course, and it's very important for me, but it's also as much important or even more to just realize what's going on and try to improve it. I cannot separate both of them. For me, it's the same thing. I compose songs for Salvador Allende, or one of my last compositions is called Jazz is Working Class. It's, for me, just natural to put them together.
Well, now I'm old enough to be one of those that they're challenging, so I'm not, it doesn't bother me. I'd rather they challenge it than to sit there and not do anything.
First two movements are written by me. The third is Fred's very last big band work. It was my great honor and pleasure and privilege to compose this suite with him, alongside him.
It is fitting that we are in a church because the Conservatory of Black Music in the United States of America is in fact the Black Church. It is where I learned to play, and I feel that
There's a different type of energy that happens when we play Fred's music. And right now, I feel like I'm just slowly beginning to see it. I've always felt it, I've always been shaped by it, but I don't fully know what it is yet. It is quite simply beyond the scale of my consciousness. That being said, something in between funk and interdimensional space travel is how I would describe Fred Ho's music. Throw in some blues and maybe some Korean pansori music, and you have something that's pretty close to what it's like to play in Fred's big bands.